Hi Divas, welcome to the DV Film Society. In this society, we are women that are reclaiming our identity, our power, our purpose, our position. We are living boldly in our authenticity, courageously in our agency over ourselves, and we are achieving success as defined by us. We're doing it God's way. Welcome. So, this is going to be short. It's off the cuff. It's going to be very succinct because I'm going to come back later with a longer video. But I felt it very necessary to come authentically and in the spirit of encouragement and buoyancy, because right now, as the divine feminine is ascending, the weight and gravity of this dimension is seeking to pull her back down. And for every diva listening, and if I'm calling you a diva, I'm referring to a divine feminine, I'm referring to a divine individual victoriously ascending, a divine individual victoriously actualizing, right? That's all we got over here, divas. But I want to encourage the divine feminine right now to hold your position and your focus of unconditional love, and first unconditional love of self that will radiate out into the world at this time to not only uplift other divines, other feminines, other divine feminines, but to hold the light for those who are actually seeking to come out of the darkness, who are seeking to align themselves with the ascension process, to align with the integration of the divine feminine that is happening right now on this dimension. I don't want to attempt to simplify what I'm trying to express, because I know that right now those who will hear this message, it is specifically for them to hear and to understand. So I'll leave it as I'm saying it, but guide and guard your eyes and ears at this time. Gatekeep your eyes and ears, because the negative entities of the ego are attempting to get to the divine mind, right? They are attempting to thwart and bug, if you will, reprogram, put a virus into the divine mind right now, to distort the programming that's been happening for the divine feminine over the last 5 years, 2 years, decade, 30 years, 100 years, trying to thwart that new program that has been downloaded into her. It's just like a computer virus, right? The computer in this world, in this dimension, is a symbolism of the divine mind, right? It's a symbolism of the mind. It's infinity, its ability to process, your ability to program the mind with anything that you want to, the ability of the mind to create anything that you want to create. And right now, the ego is dying. The ego, its time is up. And for those who are holding on to the ego, who are refusing to surrender the ego, who want things to remain the same, who want things to be the way they've always been, who are afraid of the ascension of the divine feminine and what that means for their future. They're, and I say they as in just energetically. Of course, these energies are, you know, being channeled through people. But when I'm speaking of they, I'm just saying energetically. These forces, the ego entities are egoic entities are seeking to reprogram, to insert a virus into, to bug the divine mind right now. And the way that they're going to do that is by overloading, bombarding the divine feminine's mind with negativity, with it's a warfare. It's especially um, against her identity. It's seeking to degrade, to diminish, um, to put fear into the divine feminine, to isolate her, to attack her from every single side, to weaken her, so that she will acquiesce to the will of the ego and to the ego's plans, how it wants to continue to carry on to this earth, which is in many ways doomed for destruction. Um, but the purpose of this video is to encourage every divine feminine to guard her eyes, to guard her ears, to guard, to gatekeep her mind, because that's what the eyes and the ears, the eyes and the ears go directly to our links to the mind, right? It reminds me of what's going on right now. It reminds me of the very first book of the Bible, Genesis, in the very first chapter, or chapter 2, where, you know, we know the story. Eve eats the fruit, and God curses the snake, the serpent, right? Curses the serpent, and tells the serpent, "You'll crawl up on the ground, right? You you'll crawl up on the ground." And then God tells the woman, "You shall bring forth basically children in sorrow, and I'm gonna put enmity between you and the serpent." Or he tells the serpent that, "I'm gonna put enmity between you and the woman, and you'll bruise her head." But it says, "No, I'll put enmity between you and the woman, and between her seed and your seed," right? "And you will bruise its head, but it shall bruise your heel," right? So the reason I say it reminds me of what's happening right now is because the head is representative of the mind. That's what the head is symbolizing in the scriptures, right? So the head is symbolizing the mind. The heel is symbolizing, like, the Achilles heel, right? So if you cut the Achilles tendon, you disable the person. They can't move, they can't run, they can't walk. They're disabled. So when the serpent when the God is telling the serpent, "I'm going to make you crawl up on the ground," basically, that was talking about the egoic mind. It's going to be locked to this dimension. It's going to be locked to the lower dimension, right? And it's going to be trapped here, the ego. And he says, "I'm going to put enmity between your seed and her seed." So the seed of the ego versus the seed of the spirit, right? The woman is representative of the spirit, the water and the spirit. Old Testament versus New Testament. That's another video. But the woman is representative of the spirit. So when he tells, "I'm going to put enmity between your seed and her seed," I'm going to put enmity between the seed of the ego, the fruit of the ego and the fruit of the spirit. There's going to be a division, and they're going to be at war with one another, right? And you shall bruise its head. So you're going to bruise the mind, the feminine mind. You're going to bruise it. But the seed, the mind of the feminine, the divine mind, is going to disable the ego, right? It's going to disable the ego and the fruit of the ego. So right now, the warfare that's happening against the feminine is not imagined. It's very, very, very much real. If you are fighting a war, you have to know what type of war you're fighting, who you're fighting, what you're fighting, why you're fighting, and the appropriate attire to fight in. What we're warring against is not people. It's like a virus that's spreading. So it's like so many people will jump up and say the same thing, and you're just repeating. You're literally like a puppet, a mockingbird, a parrot. You're just repeating stuff. This is not even something you're saying because of conviction. And social media is amplifying all those voices 100 times over. So it's a strategy of war. Social media is being used as a strategy of warfare. And we're not fighting or warring against people and individuals. This is energetic. And we must know how to hold ourselves within ourselves to return to our power, because anything else is weakening you, whether or not you can recognize that. Any external power that is in this world is not greater than the power that is within you, and it's not greater than the power of the divine. And the weapons that were given to the divine feminine, do not resemble the weapons of the external world. And the external world has sought to diminish what has been given to the feminine. But the weapons that have been given to the feminine are infinitely more powerful than any weapon that's in the external field, in the 3D. So I just want to tell you, you're beautiful. You are God's greatest treasure. He will always return for you. The love of the Father for the daughter is, I don't want to say infinitely greater, but it's a special love that the Father has for the daughter. She holds his heart in a special way. He'll always hear her cry. He'll always come to her rescue. You are very, very much loved in the greater realms. There are entities and angels and gods and messengers and godparents and grandparents and spiritual guides and ancestors and saints that are literally cheering you on, that are very proud of you, that are saying you're nearing the end. You're on your way to accomplishing the mission that you were sent to this room to accomplish. You must keep going within. The answer will never be without. The answer will never be in the external. Keep going within. Hold yourself in the highest vibrational frequencies. Hold yourself in the frequency of divine love. Build yourself up. Build your body. Build your mind with good things. Think good thoughts. Shun evil. Evil speaking. Evil messaging. And evil is anything that's negative and destructive and chaotic and divisive and hateful and fearful, and dismissive and dishonoring. Stay away from those people and those messages and those things and those places, and continue to hold yourself in love. Everything that you need, God will provide. Everything that is not meant for you, God is moving out of the way. It can get lonely, it can get discouraging, but I want you to know, God wants you to know, that the victory was given to you in the beginning. So you're going to win. It's already predestined, it's prophesied. Right now, we're just living out the prophecy. So hold fast. The end has already been written, and you are the victor. I love you.